Hey guys, Andy here. So we're taking a look today at the iPhone SE 2020. I think Apple raised a lot of eyebrows, my own included, when they announced the price of the SE at, well, starting at £519. I think it's $399, I think, in America, which is very much Android territory. That's kind of, Android's just owned that area. Apple's not been in that area. No one else really has. Windows Phone are now long gone. And I didn't think Apple would ever do something like this, so I was quite surprised. And they've managed to do it by sort of recycling old parts, basically. So it's the body and the screen of the iPhone 8. It's the chipset from the iPhone 11 Pro, and it's the camera, pretty much, I think, from the iPhone XR. Now, not knowing iPhones, I don't know what a lot of that means anyway. But basically, it means that all these old parts they've got laying about, I suppose, they've just jammed in together to produce the iPhone SE 2020. So let's start with the design of the device. Obviously this one is red. It's also available in black and white. It is quite a small device, so it's only 148 grams. It's 7.3 millimeters thick or thin. It does have IP67 dust and water resistance, which is up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. It does have huge big bezels. And I've kind of in some ways hidden it a little bit with the wallpaper I'm using, but you can perhaps still see they are pretty massive. Because, as I said, they're taken from the iPhone 8. The fingerprint sensor, it's funny, it almost feels slow at times, but I don't know if that's the software more than the hardware, because I can press it pretty briefly and that's enough for it to unlock. Whereas when I'm installing apps and it asks me to authenticate, you hold it down and it takes like a second or so for the animation to happen. But I think that's just a software thing, because as you've seen, it unlocks really quick when you just, there's been times I've just tried thinking I'm just turning the screen on and actually I unlock the device and head in. As you would expect from an Apple device, the build quality does feel fantastic. Glass front and back, aluminium body, really nice build quality, obviously. So the hardware I've kind of mentioned already. The chipset is an Apple A13 Bionic, which is a 7 nanometer. Well, it says there's 7 nanometer plus. I don't know quite exactly what that means. The CPU is a hexa-core, 2.265 gigahertz Lightning, plus a 4 times 1.8 gigahertz Thunder. It just says Apple GPU, 4-core graphics. What I can tell you, that gives a Geekbench 5 score for the CPU of 3,220 as an average, which is interesting because when I did the unboxing I ran Geekbench 5 and it scored like 2,300 and I just moved on. I thought, okay, that's fine. And a few people commented, no, it should be scoring much more than that. And sure enough, I ran it again and it did. The highest score I got was 3,399, which is higher than any other device I've ever tested, including my OnePlus 8 Pro. But the average score, it's about the same as the OnePlus 8 Pro. So I know a lot of people say, hey, it's the most powerful phone. It's a budget iPhone, and it's the most powerful phone, more powerful than any Android. Not quite, because it's underclocked. The chipset, my understanding is it's slightly underclocked to help with the battery, which we're going to come to later on. So this particular one has 128 gig, 3 gig of RAM, and cost me £469 from John Lewis. But you can get the 64 gig version for £419. You can get a 256 gig version for £569. It does have NFC, so I've been using Apple Pay and actually quite like that. It seems a nice setup system. It's got stereo speakers, so let's give a couple of different examples.
For the Cowboys. And again, this is the reporting, and I don't blame the media because this is what they're...
So reasonable volume, not the best quality, but acceptable. Scored, I think, 88.1 decibels on my test, which is, it's about a third of the way down my list. And that's okay. So I've found it fine. I listen to podcasts, I make some phone calls using the speaker, and it's been fine. It's been plenty good enough. I do like the haptics of it. So, I mean, for one, I'm told the button is not a physical, it doesn't actually depress, it's just a haptic, which is, it really feels like something clicks in when you do it. So as an example, if we were to go into MyFitnessPal and change the serving, I mean, I don't know, oh, not the serving, sorry, the number of servings. That haptic, there's a little, it actually feels like something just kind of tapping on your hand. I can't show it on a video, really, I don't know why I'm really doing this, but just things like that, I do, you know, really nice haptics, I'm not going to lie, like the haptics. If we talk about the screen, which is Retina IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen, 4.7 inches, 65.4 screen to body ratio, which is terrible. And you can perhaps see the bezels a bit better. So yeah, they are some big bezels. It's 1334 by 750, 16 by 9 ratio, 326 pixels per inch, which again is not good. 5 or 6 years ago, that was amazing, but now a lot of screens are sort of 400 plus. Honestly, I'm okay with it though, it's fine. I don't mind a 720 screen. I remember the Mi A3 has a 720 screen, and I thought it was a beautiful, amazing looking screen. And LCD screens these days are actually a lot better. I don't think you have to go AMOLED. I miss certain things like an always on display. Obviously this does not have an always on display, but it's okay. It's ion strengthened glass with an oliphobic coating. It's got Apple's True Tone, which kind of adjusts the tone of the screen to suit your surroundings. For me, it scored 581 lux on my brightness test. It's all right. I mean, it's sort of below, it's bottom half of the table, I think, but it's okay. I didn't have any problems seeing the screen in my usage, put it that way. It does generally look very nice. The only problem I've had is it sometimes feels unresponsive. So I'm going to go in and do a few things. We'll see if we get an example. You watch, it's going to, yeah, so that's sometimes I'm there tapping OK for ridiculous amount. It's almost sometimes like if the screen has to warm up or something, I don't know. Again, everything's working. So you saw there's a couple of taps there, and it normally is up in the corners. Oh, it normally is up in the corners that I have issues with things. There have been sometimes I've literally been, why is this not? And I'm tapping away, and then eventually it'll go through. I don't know what that is, but it just doesn't seem that responsive. I've also never misclicked things as much. I don't know if I can really give you an example. Normally it's been when I'm writing text or I'm going back to edit some text, and I'll tap where I think the word is going to be, and I'm on the line above somehow. And I guess I'm just mistapping, but I've never had it happen as much as I've had it happen on this phone. I don't know if I don't know. Make of that what you will. So let's move on to the cameras, or the camera, I suppose there's two, there's a front and a back. So we have 12 megapixel f1.8 wide angle with phase detection, autofocus and optical image stabilization. It would do 4K up to 60 frames per second, which is good. The front facing camera is only 7 megapixels, f2.2. Now, the cameras are kind of one of the selling points of this device, really. I think sort of the argument goes, well, you know, you're only paying £490, but you're getting an Apple camera, an iPhone camera. And I have done a couple of comparison videos, so go and check those out because that'll give you perhaps a bit of a better idea. But I mean, I can tell you they are really good looking photos. The detail is really good. The color balance is really good. The vibrance is good. The exposure has been good, even when looking into the sun, which a lot of smartphone cameras really struggle with. The zoom was actually surprisingly good. It's just, you know, software zoom. Low light looked pretty good as well. They were generally just good photos. The front-facing camera was good images there. The portrait mode worked really well. The video is kind of where iPhone excel in some ways, I suppose, over Android, and it's very smooth. Again, it looks good, the detail, the colors, everything. But it's quite basic setups. There's no night mode, there's no ultra wide angle. It's just pretty basic. And I'm assuming most people watchers have seen the camera app. It's a fairly simple camera app. Some dirt on the screen, sorry. We've got portrait, oopsie daisy. We've got time lapses and slow-mos and panoramics. Yeah, I mean, it is a good, if you are after a good camera, yeah, you don't need to spend any more, you buy this. It is a good camera. The software, again, yesterday I recorded a whole other video, 20 plus minutes, about me talking about the software from kind of an Android person's point of view. I mean, it's iOS. I think, again, if you're a regular iOS user, you'll know exactly what to expect. If you're an Android user, for more detail, go and watch the video I made yesterday. But really, the bottom line, it's just about getting used to things. So notifications are a bit different. I actually have got used to I think they're called badges. So I know I've got a time up notification. I know I've got a TikTok notification. If I go in here, I can see I've got Strava notifications. And you kind of get used to that. It's just things like this. I don't know how, I can't get, so this one's telling me I've run out of space and I'm not buying anymore. Because I just don't need to, I don't want to, it's not, but I can't get rid of that notification. That's always going to be there now. Widgets are done differently to Android. Obviously they're all sort of in their own place over at the side. I find it weird, it always remembers where I am. So if I go there and I come away and I come back, it's always there, which I suppose initially is fine, but like I hadn't been to this screen for probably since yesterday, and it was still low. I would prefer it reset after a certain amount of time, but anyway. So yeah, widgets are all there. You can change which widgets are shown and the order they're in. You can, only certain apps have widgets, you can add them in here. And that's okay. I didn't really find I used that, which is weird because I do like widgets on Android, but I guess it's just a memory. I don't just think to head over there. If I want to know the weather on this device, I just tap the weather icon and load the weather app. The control center I actually think is really quite good. So for example, there's the podcast still ready to go.
Is 7 million, up to 7.
And I can skip forward and backward. I've got screen brightness, I've got volume, I've even got a torch, I've got my radio commands, I've got camera, calculator. I actually really like the control center. Again, honestly, I just generally forgot it was there and forgot to use it. I did use it yesterday when I needed the torch, brought it up, bam. I think that's pretty good. So for me, it's just about what you're used to, and I'm not used to iOS, but because I've been using this for a week now, actually, if I had to use iOS, I'd be all right. It's not that different. It's not, notifications, they look a little bit different. But at the end of the day, they're still very much the same. Well, they're similar, kind of, to Android. But again, go and watch the specific video on the software if you want to know more. But, it is what it is. It's iOS. It's actually okay when you get used to it. So the battery, Li-ion 1821 milliamp hours battery, fast charging 18 watts, but I don't think the charger in the box is 18 watts. You have to buy that separately. But when you have got that, 50% in 30 minutes. Honestly, because I don't know what software I can use to track battery charging and battery use, it was really quite hard for me to tell. I mean, it seemed to take an hour or so when I was plugging it in to go to fully charge. Well, more than an hour and a half perhaps. But then I'm not 18 watts probably. So it does have Qi wireless charging, which is a nice addition at this price point. Because I've got wireless chargers dotted around my car. Is a wireless charger next to my bedside is a wireless charger. So I like that I can just pop it on, off it goes. But it's not good. So at the end of most shifts, and this is the end of most shifts, not the end of the day, so it's maybe 11 hours, so it comes off at 6 o'clock, and by about 5 o'clock when I'm home, I'm somewhere in that 20 to 30% range of battery left. That's not a lot. That's, if you were going out again, or if you were going out after work, I would be really worried that it would not last. And that's with about 2 hours. That's with about 2 hours screen on time. I'm not a massive user. I think, others will use more than that. Then I did my test, my hour-long test, which is basically playing a 37-minute long video. It's the same video I use for all phones, and then just reloading a web page every 30 seconds. And again, the software I'm using is slightly different, so that might affect the battery use, but it scored a 71%. That's like 6% lower than anything I've ever tested before. And the previous worst was the Jelly phone, which was a tiny little phone. I think the whole point was it's the world's smallest 4G phone, and it was tiny, and that scored a 77. And this scored a 71. That's really bad, really bad. Having said that, I defended the Pixel 4, saying, yeah, but you've always got a charger laying around, which you do. So I've not run out. I've been using this all week. I've never once run out of battery. I've never even been that concerned. At the same time, lockdown, I'm not really going anywhere. But if battery is a concern to you, then this should be a concern to you, because it is not a good battery. So all in all, it is lovely hardware. I mean, kind of as you would expect from Apple, it is really nice hardware. Yes, it's a dated design. That doesn't particularly bother me. The size of the bezels and such, I'm really not all that bothered. I'm going to go to something that shows them. That doesn't bother me. Some people, it seems to really grind. Oh, it's a design from 2014. Oh my god. Yeah, and what? It's got bezels. So what? I mean, it is quite a small screen. And in fact, I looked at a few of the other sort of options that you might have at this price point, at this size, if you were open to Android, well, if you're open to either of them. And you're looking at perhaps the 3A, the Pixel 3A, and you're looking at, what did I put up there? The Xiaomi Mi 9 SE, I think, which is a bit more expensive. And they've both got, I think, much better, nicer screens. The screen is the weakness. In fact, we'll come back to that comparison in a second. Let's finish talking about the SE. So data design doesn't bother me. It's obviously, there's plenty of power. It is a very powerful device. It does have a great camera, even if it's a little limited with the lack of the ultra wide and night modes and things like that. But it does take some very good pictures. The screen still looks very good, I think. There is just that issue with the sort of the sensitivity of it. The battery would probably be your biggest concern, unless you have sort of ample access to chargers through your day. So I honestly think if this was an Android device, it would be less than £300 with this sort of hardware with Android running on it. I know I had somebody telling me that, oh, no, it'd be £700 or £800. It really wouldn't. This screen, this design, it's just not. There's cheaper, much cheaper devices. Like, so we're looking at the Pixel 3a and the Xiaomi 9 SE. They've both got better screens, I think. They're both way better battery. Well, to be fair, let's just look at the Pixel 3a because I've not used the Mi 9 SE. Much better screen, way better battery. It's got a fingerprint sensor, probably just as good a camera. You possibly lose out on the power of the device and maybe the build quality. But it's about £100 cheaper, I think, the Pixel 3a. So, I don't know, bottom line, yeah, it's a really nice device. If you're an Android user looking in that price range, should you move over for it? Probably not. I would say go the Pixel 3a. If you're actively looking to go to Apple at that price range, yeah, of course. I mean, you haven't got any other options, but yeah, that it is a good phone. You will be fine as long as you're okay with the battery. So, do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do please consider heading over to patreon.com/AAUK. I bought this device myself. I'll buy all my devices myself. If I had a huge big Patreon following, I would be able to buy more devices and do more videos like this, more reviews. So do please consider that. Obviously, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Check out other videos on my channel. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.